Nadir says Club Nick could be out starting quarterback next year. Why do we have to draft one? Well, Club Nick could be our starting quarterback next year, but we're certainly not going to base it on one preseason game where he played okay, but not great. So Club Nick is going to have KPIs that he has to hit this year, key progress indicators. And this is what I've said all along. We got two bites at the apple. Number one, at least right now. Number one is Geno Smith. Hopefully he plays well. If so, we give him an contract extension. He's our veteran. We can count on him, and we put that in place. Then we got at least one youngster that we like now, Cade. And depending on how he develops, if he hits all of his KPIs, that'll be our second bite at the apple. We could go with him if he balls out. And then the draft. So we're going to see how the draft falls next year. And we'll treat the draft very smartly the way that Muji has treated this last draft and this last free agency period. And we'll see how the board falls. We'll see how many picks we have, where they are, how many kids come out. You never know with these college kids. That's the thing. If you put all of your eggs in one basket of we're going to wait until 2027, that's very stupid because you have no idea how the kids are going to play. You'll have a better idea at that time. The season will have been done, but you don't know right now what number of kids are going to be having great seasons and ready to come out. A guy could have a great season like Dante Moore and decide not to come out like Dante Moore did last year. So you have no idea who's going to play well, how many are going to come out, who's going to come out, where you're going to be picking. So to put all of your eggs in the 27 basket is pretty dumb. So I like this idea of, all right, we're going to get a veteran. Hopefully it's Geno. And if Geno plays poorly, I'm sure we're going to sign a veteran, for some stabilization, number one. And then you take one this year. We liked Cade. That's who we took. And hopefully he develops. That would be nice. And then you don't have to be desperate next year when the draft comes. Whatever makes sense in the draft next year to do. And it may be take a guy in the second round. It may be, who knows? Some of these guys who are playing well now in the preseason, Drew Aller, Beck, Carson Beck played okay. Beck, Aller, Klubnik, some of these guys are second, third round picks, fourth round picks. And this way, you can get a quarterback maybe that's good, and you don't have to spend a very expensive pick on him. That would be phenomenal. So I think that's the way to think about it. A lot of people don't like to think long term. That's a problem. But long term, that's the way to think about it. Veteran, young guy developing behind him, and then next year we'll see what comes. Maybe nobody comes out that's any good. Then what? So you got to have contingencies. You got to have multiple ways you can win, essentially. If you just say we're going to pick one in 27 and that's your whole plan, well, that's very, very risky because you have no idea what's going to happen. So we might take one next year. We might not take one next year. The way I see it is you got to have multiple options to win with this quarterback position because obviously it's the most important one on the team. So that's the way I see it. No reason to force anything. No reason to panic or get super excited about anything. Hopefully, Geno does well and Klubnik does well, and we take one and we just have an abundance of riches. That would be nice. So that's the way I see it. That's the way I've always seen it. From the beginning, Phil Adams and Deuteronomy will tell you I've had the two bums and a baby plan. That wasn't exactly how it played out, but it was kind of correct. Get a veteran and then get young guy. Well, we got one veteran, at least with Geno, and then Klubnik, the young fella. And now we got to see what we're going to do with this quarterback 3 position, to be honest with you, for this year right now. Because Cook and Zappy, no, they're not doing it. No. If Zappy looks that bad in a preseason game against a bunch of bums, That's not good. So we might be, might be scouring the waiver wire. We might want to make a minor trade. J J Jefferson, J J McCarthy is, somebody who has a lot of talent, for example, and they seem to be souring on him in Minnesota, as an example. Same thing, Will Levis down in Tennessee. We might be able to pick up one of these kids who have a lot of talent. You bring them into your building, you see what you got. Be better than having Bailey Zappi. Zappiness is a warm gun, but I'm not so sure he's an NFL quarterback. So, uh, you know, that's the way to think about it. These things are like assets. You got to protect them and you got to collect them. Collect and protect. I like that. These assets called quarterbacks, you collect them and you protect them, and you hopefully somebody develops into something you like. So that's the idea. You don't overreact to small sample size things. You just go, oh, look, Klubnik played pretty good in the preseason. Okay, check the box. Ching. Good. Zappy, not so much. Get rid of the bum. Because Zappy is a different, story, because Zappy is a veteran. If Bailey Zappi doesn't come into the preseason and dominate, it's like, what are we doing here? That's not a rookie. No, if a rookie doesn't play well in the preseason, okay, he's learning, development, blah, blah, blah. But if you're Bailey Zappi, you should be acing the preseason. I mean, come on already. So those things you could say, all right, well, maybe we need an upgrade at QB3, which is fine. It's QB3 after all. You don't even have to carry a third quarterback if you don't want to. So that's what I would say. That's what I've said from the beginning. That's what I'll continue to say. The long-term plan for the quarterback position should include multiple bites at the apple, including always one veteran, just in case, a guy who can keep the train on the tracks. And then I would prefer multiple youngsters behind, developing in their own time. And if they develop really fast, they accelerate the timeline. That's great. And if they don't, it's okay. We got veteran there to move the train along the tracks. That's what we got. Where's all these comments? Skipilo says, keep Cook, lose Zappi. And Cook, Cook could be a practice squatter, but I'd like to upgrade that spot on the roster. Yeah, so Phil Adams has it here. Don't throw him in the deep end. It doesn't work that way. I think that's true, especially here. Maybe that works in other places, but here with the New York media and the New York fans, I don't think that works. You got to let them develop on their own time.